0, these two resonances came closer, but as k parallel increases, these two resonance curves are separated, right. So, at basically it is near k parallel. Now, you can think about a situation when a polariton is basically a trion is interacting, a lower this middle polariton and trion is interacting by exchanging an electron. So, electron basically is delocalizing. When the electron is captured by polariton, this polariton branch, it become a trion polariton branch. That means that your trion binding energy is become less because of this electron delocalization that is happening because of this electron mediated interaction between these lower middle polariton branch and this trion branch. And that is the physical picture that we have, and as a result, and since this interaction depends on k parallel, right, that far away you will not have this effect, right. So, this loop binding energy lowering will happen at near k parallel equal to 0, because their resonances are closer, and as a result you get an inverted shape in the polariton branch. So, this is the new thing that we basically have found in our experiment from single shot measurement. But the thing is that this trion polariton in earlier measurement people have not noticed. Noticed in the sense, if you have see that actually saw it, if I go back to this slide, sorry. So, if you see there is something happening here, they are not labeled repulsion here, but there is something happening here, and there are other data from supplementary information. I actually forgot to put those plots here, where it will show it to you that it will seem that they are not really a label repulsion here at this point. And one of these group also had tried to fit these coupling with the 3 coupled oscillator model without including this electron interaction effect. They could not fit this data, the 3 coupled oscillator model, where basically you think about 3 bosonic coupled oscillators, where you could not fit this data. So, my guess is that this effect is still there, the effect that we see, but since they are not able to feed that data with the correct model, they are not obtaining the correct fitting for this, and that is why the technique that we used with angle resolution measurement, it actually helped us to see the effect of inverted dispersion directly, right. Here you will not be able to see that, because this direction you do not have anything, right. It has very faint intensity in this 2 branch. So, it will not appear to you, even though the signature is there, that this is an inverted dispersion. So, the chances are that the physics is there, but it is missed by many of the previous ones. Okay. So, now I think I almost reached to how much? Maybe another 5-7 minutes. Okay. Okay, so I think I actually almost finished my talk. So, this is the key result of our experiment, and so this will actually allow you, this system will allow you to do this condensation physics, which is a many body system, and also you can think about increasing electron concentration and exciton electron coupling. So, you can basically go to a basically the system will be a very versatile system to study very interesting many body physics by applying an electric field and tuning the electron concentration, and also play with the detuning. Another thing is that the system is also non-equilibrium system, right. So, since the work that I am going to sorry, I actually forgot to mention is that the previous work in 2004, where they demonstrated this polariton laser, there I have not completed the study. So, there this polariton condensation is happening because it is producing a condensation, but they are calling it dynamic condensation. because the condensation is happening not at thermal equilibrium, because it does not have that much lifetime. Before it is reaching to thermal equilibrium, it is actually forming the condensation state. So, now this is a many body physics with non-equilibrium physics, right, and I think very interesting for the quantum matter theory community. And these are the very primitive and preliminary experiments that we are doing. So, these are the distributed Bragg mirror fabricated by M.Tech and MSc students in our department. So, they are actually using, since we do not have a good evaporator there, so we are trying to do some wet technique. So, we are doing it a deep coating technique to achieve this DBR, and this is one of the DBR that the students have made. This is another sample that we try to also do mechanical exfoliation, and we got some photoluminescence from a pre-existing setup there. So, we had a microPL setup and trying to realign it to get photoluminescence from individual samples. This is so. The conclusion is that I think already mentioned, and so this is a group at IIT Kharagpur. These are this MSc students, Arnab, others, me, Tanish, Vivatsu, and Abhijit. Okay, with this, I thank you for all your attention. And which geometry? If I want to change the bias voltage. So, in our DBR structure, what you can do is you can etch the material and put contacts. So, this is one technique that you can do. So, you have this DBR, right. So, now you etch it through one of the top mirror, and then you can put metal contact. And other technique is that you basically etch from the side, and then you try to put the contact. The other possibility is that you define the contacts beforehand, and then you make the DBR. So, you make the device and then you put the mirror, then you can apply voltage. Which step? Yes, so these are unintentionally doped sample, because any of these TMDC materials that you can get it by mechanical exfoliation or CVT grown, they will come up with their own impurity, unintentional impurity, that will end up you giving some firm energy which is closer to conduction band or valence band, or you will end up with some free electron density from the beginning. Yes, by doping you can increase it, or you can also apply voltage and change the carrier concentration.
Can you explain me the two-dimensional condensation part? Does TC how it is using the mass effect?
With the?
In the two-dimensional condensation, how it is possible?
Yeah, so that is, so those are the questions that I think may not be the exactly may not be the BEC, but there could be some condensation physics also possible in 2 dimensions.
How you will treat it? See, in a two-dimensional case, if you take the average dispersion relation, first of all, you cannot have this BEC because the series is divergent. You cannot have any condensation state. And one more thing, that if you claim it the condensation state, then you have to show some phase transition. Then is the possibility show the KT.
Yeah, but if you see that this is a highly complex system, right. So, this is a system which is not at equilibrium, right. The physics that you are talking about is an ideal system, everything is at equilibrium, but this is a system people have already seen in quantum well structure where this condensation happens dynamically before reaching to thermal equilibrium. So, I think a comparison would be difficult. Yeah, so there are phase transitions, and that you can actually see it from the emission of light from this material. So, when it decays, it basically it will emit, it will give you some emission, and if you look at the emission dispersion, it will basically focus at a particular point in k parallel, around k parallel equal to 0.
It is changing continuously because of the dynamics.
Hmm?
Since it is not equilibrium, so it is changing continuously.
Yeah, so you can so the technique that people use, they basically change a laser power of excitation. So if you change the pumping power, you see a sudden change in the nonlinear behavior, nonlinearity. So if the system will basically show you some nonlinearity, nonlinear effect. So suppose I measure the intensity of from the emission, and then suddenly when this condensation will appear, its nonlinear behavior will change with the pump power of the laser. So you will see some phase transition if you look at the emission intensity from these polariton gas.
Some of the, I mean, I think the BEC has in quantum structures has been seen. I think the groups in Berkeley, not in TMDCs, but quantum.
Yes, quantum structures already have been seen.
But for that, the temperatures are much lower.
Millikelvin.
I think that I have to remind myself the paper. I think it's Daniel Chemula. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Deng.
At Berkeley. Yeah, they have demonstrated this exotonic compensation. So I don't know the details, but you might want to check that.
Yeah, so it is already been demonstrated. Yeah. So the first author is called Deng, D-E-N-G. Which interaction between? Cavity photon. So the interaction between the exciton and the cavity photon, that is basically producing the Rabi splitting, right? Yeah, so because of that large Rabi splitting, that basically it means that it has repelled where the exciton was, it has basically repelled downward, right? And that energy is around 25 milli-electron volt in our case. So the Rabi splitting that we obtained is around 25 milli-electron volt, and the trion binding energy is 30 milli-electron volt, right? So you can imagine that you have the exciton here, and the trion is shifted to 30 milli-electron volt, right? And that is a trion line. And now by this exciton photon coupling, you have the polariton branch, which is closer to by 5 milli-electron volt to the trion branch, to the trion line. So now you can think about this trion and this polariton branch interaction by an electron, in presence of electron. No, so these are all three coupled. Exciton, photon, and trion, everything is together. The picture that I am talking about is it's like a hand waving argument. So when I am talking about a polariton branch now interacting with trion, it is not that first the polariton branch have formed and then it is interacting with trion. So everything is there from the beginning. So we are basically trying to give you some hand waving argument in order to explain the model that we described.
I guess maybe you're saying like to kind of disentangle. So having a gate will allow you to tune these coupling independently. There is another parameter.
Yes, yes.
In these devices, there is no gate which tunes the thing. So if you have that, then you can go from, if I understand correctly what you're saying, you can go from a regime where you see the upward thing that you observe to a downward where you detune it completely so that there is no coupling can be mediated between the exciton and the trion.
Right, right. So if I go from completely trion, for example, if I fill the system with all electrons, right, and then so there is no exciton branch. There people have seen that in that case, so if I filled all the exciton gas with electrons, then we have that only trions. The exciton is gone, right? So you have now trion interacting with cavity photon. There is no exciton here. So there people have not seen this effect. So there they get usual normal dispersion. Yeah, so that basically, so we are saying here that right now the picture that we have is that we have exciton, we have trion, and we have exciton, and we have cavity photon, and we have trion, right? Now, so our picture is that we have this exciton and photon coupled, and we have made these two polariton branch, upper and lower middle polariton branch, right? Now, if I consider the distance between the trion resonance and the middle polariton branch, that is very small, near k parallel, right? Now, if I don't have that, if I don't have the exciton, if I only have trion, then depending on, so basically it is a coupling between two oscillators, only two couple oscillators, and if you see this Hamiltonian, yeah, so this is actually interesting point. So, so there are three coupled oscillators. Now, if I do not have the exciton branch, right, then I think one of these term will be missing. So, B3 will be missing here. So, here we have this lower polaritons here. So, gamma 2 is this lower polariton branch.